Hello, welcome to my channel. Today, I will show you a 2019 movie, Sinister Seduction. Spoiler alert. Watch out and take care. At the movie's beginning, Sharon's husband, Mark, is killed by an unknown man. Following the death of her husband, she and her son Anthony are down. She leaves work for a while, and on her first day of resumption, she wakes up and wakes her son. She notices Anthony feels weird about going to school. She suggests she stays home with him that day, but he asks her to resume. She walks out of the house, where she meets her ex-schoolmate and a police officer working on her husband's case. A policeman named Teddy. Teddy gives her the update on her husband's death investigation, and she suspects her husband's business partner Jared. Teddy informs her of a huge withdrawal from Jared's account a few weeks before her husband's death but tells her that Jared has a strong alibi for the night her husband died. Sharon insists that Jared sent threatening mail to them before her husband's death, but Teddy insists anyone could have sent the mail. While they talk, Anthony walks past them. Teddy asks about how Anthony is faring. Sharon informs him that she thinks her son is being bullied at school. Upon arriving at school, Anthony opens his locker and finds trash papers with his crush's picture. His bully, Brant, is the one who kept this picture there, and Brant comes to bully him again. Fortunately for Teddy, another student, and a senior, Dylan walks by and saves him from Brant. As they leave, Dylan goes to the picture and sees it is the picture of Megan. So during lunch, he walks past Anthony and walks to Megan. Dylan brings Megan to Anthony and introduces them to each other. After school that day, Anthony and Dylan train for the football tryout. Again, Dylan assists Anthony during the tryout. After the tryout, Dylan comes back to talk to him. He asks Dylan why he is that night, and Dylan explains that they are the same. Dylan says he lost his father about 2 years ago when his father committed suicide. He says no one should be made to go through the pain of losing a father alone, so he has decided to walk through the pan with Dylan. Sharon finishes at work and comes home. She expects to meet her son at home, but he isn't around. As she walks out to find him, she sees him coming out of a car with Dylan. Anthony greets his mother and introduces her to Dylan. He asks Sharon if he can host his friends at their pool that night, and Sharon accepts. Sharon invites Dylan into their house, and Dylan looks at her weirdly. That evening, Megan and Dylan come to Anthony's home pool. During the party, Dylan keeps looking at Sharon. He asks for the direction to the toilet and finds his way into Sharon's room. As Sharon enters, he apologizes for intruding into her privacy, and she directs him to the gym. After the friends leave, Sharon notices Anthony's bag is in the washing machine. She goes to speak to her son and talks about Dylan too. Anthony tells her that Dylan is a friend and not everyone is out to get her. They console each other of their pain as they ask how they feel when they retire to bed. The next day, Dylan helps Anthony with his football training. Anthony asks how Dylan is that good at football and Dylan explains that he once played football at his former school, but the coach sent him out of the team after he assaulted another student during the game. Anthony says it's something he could have told the new coach, but he says that no one will ever understand what it means to lose a father. He tells Anthony that even his mother doesn't know what it is to lose a parent. After their conversation, Anthony goes for his next class while Dylan visits Sharon's real estate company to check out a house. He tells Sharon he is checking the house for his uncle, who is now his legal guardian, following the death of his father. He says his uncle is a psychiatrist, and his mother is a patient at his uncle's hospital. As they check the house, Dylan notices Sharon is too familiar with it, and Sharon explains the house belongs to her. Her husband bought the house after his company went public but now wants to sell it because she hates it. Dylan returns to school and joins the football training. He teaches Anthony how to play like a pro, so Anthony defeats the other students. One of the students, Kilby, angrily leaves the field to get revenge on Anthony. He goes to Anthony's locker, but Dylan follows him. As Kilby meets Dylan, he accuses Dylan of having been trained before at another school, and Dylan accepts the accusation. Dylan tells Kilby that he was sent away from his former team because he hit his helmet on a fellow student and shattered his bone. He says the student did the same thing Kilby did to Anthony. He also uses the opportunity to warn Kilby of what he is made of. Kilby gets terrified and leaves. One morning, Sharon wakes from bed and goes out of her bedroom in her nightwear. She sees Dylan in her house. Dylan is waiting for Anthony as they have to go to the field together. Sharon appreciates Dylan for being friends with Anthony and tells him she can't remember the last time Anthony felt excited to do anything. As the boys leave, Sharon goes to the front of her house and sees a printed copy of one of her emails. It's a copy of her conversation with Lander, a man she had an extramarital affair with. She is terrified, and she meets with Katie. She shows Katie the mail, and Katie advises her to show Teddy. She informs Katie that Teddy loves her and he has been in love with her since elementary school, so she can't tell Teddy something like that. Katie reassures her she is a good person and that cheating on her husband doesn't change that she is a good person. At school, Anthony gets accepted into the football team. That day, Dylan also encourages him to ask Megan out for dinner. He returns home excited about the dinner. That night, Dylan drives Megan to Anthony's house and then leaves his car for Megan and Anthony to take out. He remains in the house with Sharon. In the house, he talks with Sharon, and they have fun. He asks her who her late husband is. They both tear off pages in Mark's books. After their fun conversation, Sharon goes to have her bath. She sees someone looking at her from the bathroom door, and it is Dylan. He pulls off his clothes and joins her in the bathroom. Meanwhile, Anthony and Megan succeed in their first kiss during their date. They drive back home excited. Anthony runs inside to tell Dylan what happened. That night, Dylan returns home to his drunk father, and it is figured that Dylan is the one sending Sharon's emails to her as he prints out another of Sharon's mail, a mail from Lander. Meanwhile, as Megan returns to school, Kilby comes to her. He tells her she can't be dating Anthony and that Dylan is a psycho. Kilby asks to prove to Megan that Dylan is fake, so he urges Megan for some information in her mother's office. Later that day, Kilby accuses Dylan of faking his information and advises him not to come for that day's training. On the other hand, Sharon is preparing to show a couple an apartment, but as she gets to them, they show her a copy of Lander's emails and asks her if she confessed about her affairs before the death of her husband. Her client refuses to work with her. She meets with Katie, and they prepare for an open show the next day. At school, Dylan meets with Anthony and asks him if he can lie on his behalf. During that day's training, Dylan comes out with a cut and claims it is Kilby who cut him. As a result, Kilby, Dylan and Anthony are taken to the police station. Sharon goes to join the boys at the police station, and Anthony also verifies Dylan lies that it is Kilby who cut Dylan. Sharon rides her son home. Upon getting home, a fight starts between them. Anthony tells her he knows about her affairs with Landers and his father told him before he died. Sharon is depressed and angry. She receives a text message from Dylan at about the same time, and Dylan asks her to show him the house again. She goes to the house with Dylan, and they start with a kiss from the door, and they end up on the bed. The following day, Anthony wakes up but can't find his mother. He prepares for school alone and leaves for school. Meanwhile, Katie comes to clean up the apartment for the show-off. At school, Megan asks to see Anthony. She shows him the video she took of Dylan and his mother. She tells him that she figured Dylan had been lying about himself, so she accused Dylan the day before, and Dylan asked her to meet him at that house where she took the video. Anthony walks away and tells her it isn't his mother's first affair, as his mother's first affair is with a real estate mogul. Also, Teddy goes to interrogate Kilby at school. During the interrogation, he receives a call from his superior. Dylan waits for Megan in front of the class. He asks about the video she took the night before and transfers the video to his phone. At the show house, Sharon receives a call from one of her clients, and the client sends her the video of her makeout with Dylan. At about the same time, Teddy knocks at her door. She tells him about the video, and he also informs her he has been taken away from her case. He tells her that his superiors found pictures of their close relationship. Anthony gets home depressed and receives a message from Megan. Megan asks to speak with him and asks him to meet him at Dylan's place. Anthony leaves home to Dylan's place while Sharon goes home. Upon getting home, Sharon calls Anthony to no avail until she receives a text from an unknown number. The number says it is Megan and Anthony is with her. She collapses on the bed and then receives a text from Lander. She leaves home to meet Lander at Mark's house and calls Teddy to meet her there. Upon getting into the house, she sees a video of Lander playing with his son showing on the projector. It turns out that Dylan is the son of Lander and Lander killed himself after Sharon rejected him. Sharon figures Dylan was the one who killed her husband. She asks him why he didn't just kill her, but he says he didn't want to kill her. Instead, he wants her to kill herself as his father did. He tells her she has lost everything: her husband, her job, Teddy, and now her son will never talk to her again. He gives her a knife and asks her to kill herself. She stabs him instead. She runs out of the house and meets Teddy by the door. Dylan is no longer in the room. They trace Dylan's uncle's address but meet his uncle drunk. Meanwhile, Megan and Anthony are tied up by a tree, and they struggle to cut themselves loose. While searching Dylan's house, they find a rope and figure out where Anthony is tied. Teddy and Sharon drive there. As they walk into the woods, Teddy gets an asthma attack, so Sharon leaves her to continue searching for her husband. Dylan attacks Teddy and then goes to find Sharon. Anthony comes to his mother's defense. He tells Dylan the reason why Lander is dead is solely Lander, and the reason why Mark is dead is solely Dylan, so his mother did nothing wrong. They gang up against Dylan and overpower him. Sharon attempts to shoot Dylan, but when Anthony tells her he forgives her, she drops the gun. After the incident, Sharon sells her last house and makes Katie a co-owner at her company. She visits Teddy and apologies to him for taking his love for granted. He asks her if she still wants to marry him. She returns home and waits for Anthony's return from school. Ending the movie, Anthony returns from school, tells his mother school is okay, and the camera zooms into their family picture. Thank you for watching the recap. Kindly subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post the next recap.